Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I slow-mo my footage in Premiere Pro. So I have my footage already up and then I have Premiere Pro already up. So first things first, I always edit my footage on 24 frames per second timeline or sequence in this case. So I'm going to go to new item, sequence, always the first thing I do, and I usually film at 4K at 24 frames per second. If you don't film at 4K, you can choose one of these other options. It's up under red, and then you'll see these options down here. So I'm going to choose this one. I only use this one if it's a short film, this one for normal videos. Go to OK, and then I'm going to take my footage that I have. I'm going to import this footage into Premiere Pro. So, quick note about these clips. This one right here was filmed at 60 frames per second. This one right here filmed at 120 frames per second. This one right here was also filmed at 120 frames per second, but my camera automatically converted it to 24 frames per second once it was done. And this one right here was filmed at a normal 24 frames per second. So I'm going to show you the differences between these clips. So I'm going to drag this one onto the timeline. This is the 24 frames per second one. Go to keep existing settings. And if I play this back, it'll play at normal speed. This is a drone shot, and I was going slow with the drone. That's why it look like it's in slow motion, but it's actually playing at normal speed. As you can see with the lights and stuff down here. And the car right here. So that one's playing at normal speed. Now, this one right here, that was filmed at 120 frames per second, but my camera automatically down converted it to 24 frames per second. I would have to do nothing to this clip. There are some cameras that does this, some that doesn't, but I don't have to do anything to this clip. All I have to do is grab it, drag it onto my timeline, and just play the clip, and the clip will be in slow motion. So if I play it, this is a dragonfly costume from the carnival that was here in Venice a couple of weeks ago that I went to. Absolutely marvelous, but as you can see, this clip is playing in slow motion. This is because my camera automatically converted the frames per second. So that clip's playing. As for this one right here, that was filmed at 60 frames per second. If I just drag this onto the timeline, it would not be in slow motion because you didn't interpret the footage. So we're gonna right click, go to modify, interpret footage. This right here is highlighted, use frame rate for file, which is 60 frames per second. That's not what we want to do. We want to go to assume this frame rate and change it to 24 frames per second, the same as our sequence, and hit OK. So our sequence is going to think that this clip is at 24 frames per second, which we really filmed at 60 frames per second. So once we go to play it back, it will now be in slow motion, the 60 frames per second clip. In my opinion, this is the best way to film slow-mo. It is not the only way, but it's the best way for me. So absolutely beautiful shot that I took on my drone. Like, I really love this one. Probably one of my most favorite drone shots, if not it is. So we have that right there at 60 frames per second. So now I'm going to take our 120 frames per second clip that didn't get converted. We're going to right click, going to modify, same process. Interpret footage. As you can see, this one was filmed at 120 frames per second. It wasn't converted. I'm going to assume this frame rate and we're going to change it to 24 frames per second, the same as our sequence. Hit OK. Drag this onto the timeline. And it's kind of loud, so first thing I want to do is go here and change it to background music or something. Just mute the clip. And then play it back. This is at 120 frames per second. This was in France that I went to. They had a light festival and it was spectacular. Let me set the frame size. Okay, there you go. But this is it right here. It's at 120 frames per second. This is on a actual Ferris wheel. It was like a little carnival almost, but it was a light festival. That basically sums it up right there. This is exactly how I personally do my slow-mo in Premiere Pro. There's also many other ways to do it. For instance, you can just have a normal timeline. You film a clip at, let's say, 60 frames per second, and then you make a 60 frames per second sequence. What you will usually do is go here, and then you will go to speed and duration, and then you'll simply just change the speed to, let's say, let me choose another clip. Let's choose this one. Go here, speed and duration, you'll change the clip to, let's say, 65. I usually change this optical flow. Hit that, and then usually I don't like doing this specifically because of that. You see the jitter as going by? This is the main reason I do not like doing it this way. So bear that in mind. There's many ways to do it, but this is the best way that works for me. Hope you guys enjoy this video, and stay tuned for another one. If you got any more tips and tricks you want me to mention or show you, just leave a comment down in the comment section below, and stay tuned for another video. Later.